Hi and good afternoon, it's Jim from maverickstar Observatory. In this upload I want to introduce you to something which I can only best describe as quantum uncertainty, and I want you to give me your perspective on this. I'm going to show you something which is quite strange in our world of the way we perceive things according to our perspective, and just give me your feedback on it. Before we get on, let's just say big thanks to the very few of the people that support what we do here at the observatory. For the last few years we've been trying to do our best in keeping you informed using the scientific method, and in particular I'd just like to thank recently Jennifer and Frank for their contributions towards the observatory and keeping it funded. So where do we begin? Okay, so I've been suffering from some anxiety every time. It seems at the same point of the month, every beginning of the month, for the first what seems like 5 days, I suffer from major anxiety. Friends and close family that I've mentioned this to are aware of it. And that's largely due to the fact of, like, the only way I can describe it is like standing in a tunnel at the beginning of the tunnel and seeing the light at the end and trying to get to the end of that tunnel. And for me that is the beginning of the month to the end of the month, and just keeping things going. It's really hard, and I've really pushed myself to the maximum point of productivity to try and balance out things myself here at the end of each month, to just try and keep things going. It's getting really difficult because I understand people are struggling themselves, but it gives me major anxiety at the beginning of every month. I'll just tell you some of the things I've done. We've gone into business with ULM. We manufacture the Clydra silver generators. We do the YouTube. We earn a little bit of revenue on YouTube advertisement, and if you know anything about that, it's like £1 or $1 for every 1,000 views. So it's really difficult to earn anything major out of that. But the way I look at it is it pays a bill, and of course we've got our patrons, which help us out every month, and they're like rock solid concrete up until now. We have started to lose a few though, I will say that. The big point is that we're going through some big changes in our world, and we're trying to address the technicalities of what is causing the major problems. I think we've got there to some degree. We understand that cosmic radiation affects cloud seeding, and therefore affects the jet streams, in the fact that they can make them super jet streams, very wide, over 1,000 miles wide and thousands of miles long. And we know that they've broken down over the last 30 years through interchange, where they break down to the point where they mix from polar jet streams to subtropical over the northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere. But what I wanted to just ask you guys is something I can't get my head around. We can both see on this video the direction in which the jet streams are travelling, and that is in a anti-clockwise direction. But let me just show you this. So okay, I'm going to show you something right now. I'm going to show you the northern hemisphere. You're going to see which direction the jet streams are travelling over the northern hemisphere from the perspective of looking down over the northern hemisphere. Then I'm going to show you the equatorial region, which you're probably seeing right now as we talk, and then I'm going to show you the southern hemisphere, and you can see which way the jet streams are turning in relationship to that. So let's do it right now so that we get the idea. Right, so northern hemisphere, anti-clockwise, equatorial region, anti-clockwise, southern hemisphere, clockwise. Have we reached a point of where the universal program is breaking down? And if so, have we reached also a point where, this is the edge and the limitations of how we perceive things? If that's the case, and I think it is, then, we know that there's something else going on in this world. When I talk about coincidences and synchronicity, I don't think it's synchronicity. I can show you the northern hemisphere again. Look, we can see which direction it's turning, anti-clockwise. Go over the southern hemisphere, but before we do, look at the equatorial region, anti-clockwise. Go over the southern hemisphere, and it's clockwise. How can one object that's rotating rotate in both directions with regards to the jet streams? Why is something else happening when we look at or perceive what's going on over the northern hemisphere, and perceive what's going over the southern hemisphere, and perceive what's going over the equatorial region? It's very strange. And I talk about, again, coincidences and synchronicity, and I'm just gonna put this out there. We all hear of these things. Sometimes you probably never see an antique car, one that you've never seen before on the road in your life, and you're in the traffic and there it is in front of you, and then the next day you see that same car again, and then you never see it ever again. What was it that threw that up into your reality, that you now see these things? Another example is, my brother works for a recovery company, and sometimes, he has to attend some scenes which are pretty gruesome, car accidents and things like that. And he was telling me about this incident that happened at 6 o'clock in the morning, involving a 72-year-old gentleman riding his bicycle and a lorry driver carrying refrigeration units. And the refrigeration units had fallen off and completely flattened this 72-year-old man on his bicycle as they went round the corner. And we both agreed, what are the chances of that happening? A guy on a bike, early hours of the morning, a refrigeration unit on the back of a lorry, unstable, going round a corner in no traffic whatsoever. So it's like these two things have come together by synchronicity and happened, and that was the result of the accident. That's what's happened. There is another facet to this story, is that the driver of the truck was under the influence of, I believe, cannabis. And I don't believe for an instant that he intended to kill somebody that day through, taking first of all cannabis and then driving the truck and having that accident at that time in the morning when there's no traffic whatsoever. This is synchronicity. This is the divine plan, if you want to call it that. This is the, and I've discussed this when I've talked about the universal equation. The nines and the zeros. There's no mistake in the fact that we have a mathematical equation that puts us on the fringe of understanding what's really going on. Just look at the 9 times table, and you'll see what I mean. After 45, it goes to 54. And the numbers reverse up the table. Something else is going on in our world, and I believe what I've just demonstrated to you guys is proof of the limitations of that reality that we are part of. We all have our part in this universe and this universal plan that existed trillions and trillions of years ago, and here we are today. and we're just starting to unpick and unravel, the breakdown or the limitation of that program that we're part of. I really believe that. And I want your explanation for what I've just demonstrated. Why, when an object like our Earth is rotating in one direction, how come when we change the perspective of the observation of that direction, it changes from anti-clockwise to clockwise? Guys, it really doesn't matter at this point. What I've discussed in this video is like off the cuff or off the sleeve or from the heart. I'm still going to have anxiety, I believe, every month until I can get some financial security for this observatory. And that can come in a couple of ways. It can come from me funding it, and I believe I'm doing everything I can. I've got an exam tomorrow, so that I can get into a line of work where I can add to the costs of the observatory myself, as well as all the other things I'm doing. Or a few more people can step up to that line and work with me. We can definitely beat this, and maybe the anxiety will reduce. But right now I'm in the beginning of the tunnel. I can see the light at the end, and the light at the end is on the 30th this month. And right now I'm just wondering how the hell I'm going to get there. And you guys can help me there. That's the only thing I can say. But hopefully I've given you some food for thought and shared some things from my heart. I genuinely believe there's something else here I can show you. I can open the door wider than this, guys, and show you some more things that I've come across which defies explanation. But from what I've showed you so far, please let me know, and the link is down there in the description. And you know what, patrons are like my little army. They're my little soldiers that are helping me battle through the month right now. It'd be great if a few more people would join them and make it a little bit easier, and that tunnel probably won't be so long. So all I can say for now is look after your loved ones, and as always, bye for now.